Hey y'all, happy Tuesday. Welcome to another What Else is Going On, aka We Go Podcast YouTube video. I'm your girl, your host, Taria. First off, I want to thank y'all again for all the new subscribers that have been here since the beginning, came in the middle, all of y'all. I thank y'all so much for supporting, liking the video, having conversation with me in the video, whether you agree or disagree. Now, can I just say something? What happened to the art of discussion? I know I've said it before. You know, if we were watching a video and somebody said the sky is blue, and I said, man, I think the reason they said the sky is blue is because they were feeling X, Y, and Z, right? Unless we've seen it where they've said the reason somewhere else, please do not come back and tell me that is not the reason. Unless, again, you can point to that's not the reason because they said it such and such. Okay. But because you don't feel like that's the reason, doesn't make me wrong. And it doesn't make you right, especially if the person hasn't clarified it. It makes us both just speculating and providing commentary and our opinions, which is what we do. Also, us giving commentary on these people. Y'all, you know what? We need to start doing a word of the day because I want to remove the word hater because the amount of people I see in different comments, oh, you hating on so and so. And I don't mean you as in me. I mean just if a content creator is talking about something, it is not always hate. Like again, what happened to the art of discussion? Now there are people out there that are making it their business to hate on people. Hating is a different level. Hating is not me providing commentary and not agreeing with what I see happening. Huh? I don't understand. And for people that say that, oh, people are always on here hating, then get off social media. If you don't like it, you waste your time to comment about what the person should or should not be doing on their platform. Go find another platform you like. Like I never understood that. If I'm under a post and I feel like a person is constantly bashing them, let me just move on. I have tried. I haven't always succeeded, but I try to provide, like if I'm providing a comment, like let's have a discussion. Well, I don't agree because of X, Y, and Z. Not you're wrong and I'm right. Unless, of course, we have the proof of somebody saying something and their reason behind it. Because somebody could say something and people could interpret it totally different. I've seen that in my own comments. I will literally say one thing and people will come back and say, that is not true. Y'all hating because so and so said this. Yeah, that's what I said. Sometimes people will literally hear you say something and interpret it differently. So, can we just get back to the art of discussion, discussing whether we agree or disagree? Again, your opinion about this person and my opinion about this person doesn't make us right or wrong. I will say though, and this is just in life, sometimes we form an opinion based off of incorrect facts. Then I do think, again, whether it's providing commentary or just in life, oh, well, no, see, your opinion is why. Oh, well, that didn't happen. This actually happened. Oh, okay. My opinion may change. We can also normalize changing our opinion based on new information. I'm just like, what is happening to debate and discussion without it resorting to me? I can have a discussion. We can go back and forth, but when it resorts to y'all are just hating, find something to do with your life. What did Mary do from Salt Lake City with that mitten on? Like that with that she had that Bernie Sanders mitten. Go away from me with this Apollo. But anyway, now that I've said all that, hey y'all, so let's get into this real quick so I can go ahead and get back out on this road. Y'all, I'm telling you, pray for me. This is a PSA for anybody who takes rideshare. And I've said it before and I'm gonna say it again. You smell like what your house smells like. You smell like what your dog smells like if you don't clean your dog. And I just feel like I shouldn't have to, my nostrils shouldn't have to partake in that. Wash. That's all I'm gonna say about that. All right, let's get into it. Y'all, Miss Parker has recreated the iconic waiting to exhale Bernadine, you know, when Angela Bassett set the car on fire. Yeah, well, Miss Porsha Williams has recreated it. So let's Let's take a look at Miss our good auntie here, Miss Angela Bassett, looking as good as she want to look. Still, y'all, her and her husband Courtney still look good. So, just as a refresher, maybe some of you are a little bit younger and never haven't watched Waiting to Exhale, but this is Angela Bassett when she burnt up her husband's stuff as she should have, right? Well, Miss Porsha Williams has recreated that, y'all. Let's get into it. Now, I'm not going to play it because it has music, but look, it says Porsha Williams can finally exhale. Miss Porsha Peach Juice Williams sat down with People magazine and she did an interview with them. I think it's her first interview since the divorce. Let's watch that one more time, y'all. She can finally exhale. Let's get into some of the things she said. Then I am going to get into more of the article. She said, when I was married to Simon, I loved taking care of him. I got him breathing right. I got him looking right. I cooked for him, and I don't regret it. That's who I am. I thrive being a wife and a mom and taking care of my family. But when it ended, I had to do something with that love. And I decided I wasn't going to let it go to waste. I started giving it to me. This is more pictures in case y'all haven't seen. I didn't expect today to be so emotional, but the moment I sat down at that vanity and started brushing my hair, just like Angela in the movie, because that's what she recreated, like some more movies, some more scenes from that movie, it hit me. I've prettied up the ugly in my life too, when it wasn't so pretty, and I'm done doing that. So this is what she's talking about. I'm a true hopeless romantic. Once I decide to be with you, I dedicate everything to you. And Simon matched my energy. He's very warm. He loved spending time with me. We were freaking extra. If we wanted to fly out of the country every weekend or post on Instagram together about how much we loved each other, he was down. Yes, because remember on Portia's Family Matters, when she got upset with Simon, as a matter of fact, because she didn't want him posting on social media without running it past her first, the picture, whatever it was that he was going to post. And he posted anyway, and she got upset about it and was crying, talking to Miss Diane about it. Y'all remember that? This is her taking notes. I mean, He also provided Williams with what she thought was a safety net given their 17-year age difference. I've been hurt really bad in different situations. I've felt defenseless. I've been lied to. I've been asked to change who I am and have not felt heard. But Simon, he was settled in his life. And the biggest thing he used to stress to me was how he had grown. He was very upfront about the things he did in his past relationships and how he had worked on himself. I felt very protected by him. I felt I met someone I could trust. That sense of security was short lived after she uncovered what she calls complex issues with his legal status. Williams says she knew the relationship was headed down a dark road and hired an immigration attorney in January of 2024. And this is just some more of her, y'all. She mowing the lawn. You know how people like to do these pictures. We had real conversations because being a supportive wife, I wanted to deal with this head on. I got it spelled out completely by an attorney who had been in immigration for 30 years. And my conclusion was, I don't want you to travel. I begged for him to not leave the country. That was not honored. On Valentine's Day, the two had a confrontation, which Williams now calls a point of no return. There was some paperwork that needed to be handled, and I wanted to bring in some attorneys to represent me, and that was frowned upon. And it wasn't really what he said. It was a look that just felt dark. I just knew I was not looking at the same person I loved before. I could tell that he was just pretty much checked out of the relationship at that point. She filed for divorce 8 days later. Honestly, I feel like I filed before I was ready to file. I filed out of necessity to protect myself. This one, I would think he would feel like it was a blind side for him. He was so used to me always finding a way to compromise what's best for me, and this time I just didn't do that. So Guabadia Simon tells people that they had no issues as a couple and that Portia Williams is citing issues that happened in my past. I've spent the better part of 35 years making up for that. Now I'm going to say this. If you came here under a false identity, allegedly, because you were denied once and you came back, under a different name. I understand if you're saying you spent the better part of 35 years making up for it, but if you have not rectified that and if it wasn't made clear to your partner, hey, this is what I've dealt with before, mm, like you don't get a pass for that. Like I've spent the last part of 35 years making up for it. How? Did you rectify the situation? Because from what I recall, he did not, which is why he's been deported. So on that part, I feel Portia. Now I wonder what sparked it coming out. Like, how did she find out? I was watching the interview and I never got that clear. And I would play the interview for y'all, but it has very faint music. And YouTube, they try me. Sometimes it's fine with the music in the background. Other times they'll come back from a video a month before and say, "Oh, we found music." Like so. But she said she protected herself financially. In my past, I was really naive and gave up everything to be married. But this time I came in as a businesswoman, a person who had built a substantial financial portfolio. I did a prenup. I was responsible. So, in a way, that due diligence made it softer landing to walk away. She said that Guabati also made it difficult for her to be transparent. He sent a cease and desist to the show, filed a defamation lawsuit, which we know against her, and prevented her from filming in their home. I do like to say again, he sent a cease and desist for filming in the home, and the production company was like, "Oh, we ain't get ready to deal with that." So technically, it wasn't that she legally could not. Production just wasn't about to get involved in that, and I don't blame them. She said, "I gave updates, but when it came to the real dark side of it, I shied away from it. The things that were happening on the show, they really aren't connected to who I am. I'm not saying it's not real, but that's like a small part of my reality. But then it's connected to you, who you are. It's just a small connection." I watched the show and I'm like, I filmed that. I said that. I did that. Now I mean, it's different than it being a reality show, but sometimes on here, I'll be talking to y'all because it feels like I'm talking to y'all. Like y'all are sitting right here. So I may say something and completely forget until y'all be in the comments like, "Girl, I agree when you said blah, blah, blah." Or "I was cracking up when you said blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, "Oh, I said that." I don't like sometimes I don't even remember saying it because I'm in the moment having fun or talking to y'all and about something and the thought will hit my head then and I'll say it. Then I go on about my day. So I get her. It's maybe the same for reality TV. What viewers didn't see was that I never left my room. I was depressed and I couldn't move. I spent a lot of time crying it out. Before I get into some more of the interview, this was posted on the Bravo Shade Room. Again, she did the interview with People. So, Erica De Niro TV said, "Girl, why am I just," shout out to the diva. "Girl, why am I just seeing this? Portia, you married a man who has been scamming since 1981. This was a horror story, not a love story." Somebody else said, "Portia is another level of Delulu, proceeding to insert yourself into someone else's marriage because you thought the grass was greener on the other side, only to end up married for all of 10 minutes, but acting as if you've gone through 20 years of traumatic matrimony is diabolical." Remember, she said when she found out that Fallon and Simon were divorcing, she messaged them both on the DMs and said if they needed anything, she was there for them. Somebody else said aesthetically she ate, but Portia, please, you willingly inhaled the BS. Somebody else said, "GTF out of here, y'all was married for 10 minutes." Child, let's get into some more because there was a point in the article where she talked about how like finding out like she found out when we found out that he was detained. So she said, one second, I want to see this right here. So she hired the immigration attorney. She said there was no infidelity on either side. There were some old habits, some desires he wanted to accomplish outside of family. And I think that he possibly chose those things over me. That part took over in the end. I don't know that person. So she's saying there was no infidelity. There were some old habits, some desires he wanted to accomplish outside of family. There were big factors that really hurt in the divorce. I loved him so much because I trusted him and I felt safe with him. And that's what I lost. I couldn't trust him. Williams had seen that look that Guabadia gave her on Valentine's Day once before in her first marriage to former NFL quarterback Cordell Stewart. So she says, so Simon continued to travel internationally during the 12 months of their divorce proceedings. And in February 2025, Guabadia insisted on returning to Atlanta for a court date connected to their divorce case. Before he even made it there, he was taken into ICE custody by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, other known as ICE. So let's do a refresher real quick on why. According to court documents, not hearsay, court documents obtained by People, Guabadia's detention stemmed from a history of immigration violations, including visa overstays dating back to the 1980s and 1987 conviction for bank and credit card fraud, as well as a 1992 deportation. So when he says, I've spent 35 years making up for those things, I get it. People have a past. You move on from that, right? That's not who you are any longer. You shouldn't be for something like that if he's made up for it, did whatever he did, right? For certain things, you shouldn't have to continually make up for those things. However, with certain actions or with all actions come consequences, and some consequences are harsher or harder to deal with than others. Despite these issues, he re-entered the U.S. under a different identity and obtained permanent residency, which was later deemed unlawfully granted. So it says you had two visa overstays, a conviction for bank and credit card fraud, as well as a 1992 deportation for all of that. Unfortunately, committing those acts, yes, you can move on in life and do whatever. But the United States may say, because you have that on your record, our rule is you can't come back, right? So to act as, and I hear different people talking about it. Well, Simon, he did that years ago, and he shouldn't have to deal with, you know, the repercussions of that because he's made up for all of that. Again, you broke the law, and that was the consequence of the law. You know what I mean? I hear people say Simon is so nice and he's this and he's that. He can be all of those things and really be sorry he did it. At the end of the day, he re-entered the US. This is according to court documents under a different identity and obtained permanent residency, which was later deemed unlawfully granted. Period. Again, I do want to know how she found out, like how she found out about it, when she found out about it, right? All right, let's get into it. I want to get into a little bit more. His most recent naturalization application was denied in 2022, and subsequent legal challenges were unsuccessful. I'm wondering if that's when she found out, when he was doing this application, when she talks about paperwork. She says, I found out, like everybody else, that he had been taken in for questioning. Though their relationship was over by then, Williams admitted she was saddened by the news. I find it to be very unfortunate. I don't want anything bad to happen to Simon. I don't want him in a horrible situation like that. We know that Simon spent 4 months in a detainment center before he was returned to Nigeria on June the 6th. I want to read something because I had listened to attorney Simone Redwine about a month or so ago. And she was talking about Porsha's divorce paperwork. And I mentioned it here, and somebody commented and said, just because an attorney, that doesn't mean she knows. And where are you getting this information about Porsha getting a lump sum? Both Guabadia and Williams attended their final June 9th court hearing remotely. Williams is filming season 4 of The Traitors in Scotland. After a long day of deliberations, the judge ruled in Williams' favor, upholding their prenup, granting her spousal support, and allowing her the ability to stay in their home for 36 months, with Guabadia paying the mortgage and bills. He's also responsible for her legal fees and a lump sum payment as part of their settlement. Okay. She said, I feel relieved. Williams tells People on a phone call from the Traitors set. I think the feeling was mutual for me and him. We were both ready to close this chapter and move forward with real life. I do have to laugh on that part. Like, listen, I've heard people say divorces are like deaths, but the person is still walking around, right? There's something about the way Portia can present sometimes, which doesn't always feel authentic. Sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. I feel like she operates out of survival mode, and it doesn't matter how what I do affects others as long as I'm able to survive. And look, sometimes there's certain times in life when we all may operate like that. People may call it self-preservation. People may call it you got to look out for yourself before anybody else. You got to put your own mask on, like on the plane, right? Oxygen mask on before anybody else. And I get that, but there are times when I think if you've made a decision to do something, and then there's fallout from your decision. Now it's I still got to protect myself, even though the decision you made hurt other people. But the fallout from that all comes back to, but I still got to protect myself. You know what I mean? So I don't know. At the same time, I can't say that what she's saying and how she's feeling isn't true. She could be feeling all these things. Now, when she says security, though, every time I see that when she says I felt safe with him, I felt like it was financial. And maybe she had shared with him, she had struggled in that area. And then when Cordell just left her stuff basically in trash bags on the side of the road with nothing, with no security. With Simon, that's what she felt, security. So for her, that's a betrayal, right? So Guabadia plans to appeal the ruling. He says this matter is far from over. She then goes on to say this hasn't been easy for PJ. She said her 6-year-old was extremely close to Guabadia and his children from previous relationships. A blended family Williams had worked hard to build during her break from Housewives. Bringing Pilar into this marriage was just beautiful. We let her relationship with Simon happen naturally, the same way we let my relationship with his kids who lived with us happen naturally. And Pilar really thrived in it. She loved Simon. She loved having brothers and sisters. Initially, she told Pilar that Simon had to travel for work, but eventually the truth came out. I just said, Pilar, mommy and papa aren't together anymore. Like how we were married, how I was the wife and he was the husband. We don't have that anymore. We're now really good friends. I guess she said that to ease her mind but we both still love you. He loves you. She says not long after Pilar asked her, so he just left me and he's not coming back. She said she reached out to him for the first time in months. I know if his kids wanted to contact me, that of course I would talk to them. So I thought it would still be in his heart, but he didn't respond. That was difficult. I cried my eyes out for her. Now I'm going to say, I don't know if his kids would want to contact you because maybe they're looking at it differently. Like we can't even live in the house that we were supposed to live in. They're kids, so they may not even be considering, well, they're going through a divorce. They may be like, they may hear all the things. My dad put down the down payment for this house, and they may feel like it's their house. They may not be really understanding the prenup and what their dad agreed to. They could just be feeling, you put us out of our house, right? Simon argues that he interpreted Portia's text as not genuine and manipulative. She said, I had just filed before we started filming. You've got to put on a different face, a different energy, and just do your job. Now, I'm going to say this. There was a part, and I thought I could find it, but there was a part of this interview where she said, once she filed, like, she knew that she had to file to take care of herself, but she even thought, well, maybe file to protect herself, but then they could work things out. But clearly that didn't happen. She says she's not ready. She can't for moving forward for another relationship. It's lonely. I can't connect with other men. And then she's crying in her voice. She said, you'd think I'm ready. You'd think I'm already out there dating, right? People try to introduce me, but when it's not the same, when it's not the same, it's not the same. When you go through a bad enough breakup, you're like, I don't like nobody. She jokes, her tears turning to laughter. I was sitting there like, do I like women enough? Can I get with a woman? Who can come in and fill this void? I've got to be able to sit with someone and feel a part of what I felt with him. All right, so she's talking about sort of feelings, when people have, long talked about Porsha and women. So She says she remains hopeful that she'll find love again and says she would absolutely marry again. I'm so glad that I can say that. There could be so much hate in my heart from how my ex handled the divorce, but no, God has preserved my heart, and I thank Him for that. For now, she's just grateful to have walked through the fire with grace. I'm really proud of myself. I really feel Porsha coming back. I'm finally able to exhale. What y'all think? Again, I'm going to be honest, and this is my opinion. Doesn't mean I'm right. For me, it does seem like the security and the hurt that she's talking about comes from the financial aspect. And she may have loved him. Again, I'm not going to say she didn't, right? Because we don't know. We ain't living in people's house, but we only can go on what we saw and the feelings we got from watching what we saw, right? I feel like that was the most bothersome part for her, or the most hurtful part was here. I thought I was stable with you and wouldn't have to go through this again with you. I mean, if she looked at his track record, did she watch her own show, Portia Family Matters, when Simon was talking to Dennis when they were in Mexico, as Dennis called it, and he basically said he keep a truck ready to load him up and load him out of his house if something don't go right. Like Simon literally said something like that. Like, did you not pay attention to that? So it shouldn't be surprising that he turned ugly, if you will, after the divorce. He said, "Get him up and get him out of here." It would be interesting. I see that they got Simon's side, right? I'm wondering if he's going to come out and do something. Remember when he was supposed to be starting a podcast and all that stuff? So who knows, child? I'm surprised he's not out. I'm wondering if he's working on something now and will come out next season swinging. But by that point, we probably be like, child, you divorced. Like, move along. I don't know. What do y'all think? I will say I agree with the person who said aesthetically she killed it. She did a good job with the pictures and all that. Most definitely. Child, I don't know. I'm gonna say this. As much as I don't believe it's all authentic, she got exactly what she wanted. I do believe some of that is on Simon. If he wasn't honest with her from the very beginning about, hey, I'm going through this naturalization process and all of that, right? That also happens though when you jump straight into a marriage. I mean, when you think about it, they announced their engagement on Mother's Day. And during the show, we're on Portia's YouTube. She talks about how they got together at the beginning of January. I mean, the beginning of 2022. And then you announce your engagement in May. So this also happens when you jump into engagements and marriages and relationships with people because you see something can be gained out of it. And you don't have the full picture of who this person is. And then bam, he not even here legally, So I hope that it does work out. Listen, in the future for Porsha, she has a child. I hope that she's careful when it comes to Pilar and because people are, whether it be a man or a woman, your children can get attached even to your friends, let alone, they may call them aunt or uncle, let alone a person that you're in a relationship with. So I hope that she's careful and really puts Pilar first, for her feelings. I'm not saying don't date, go out there and have your fun, but all of them shouldn't be meeting your baby. That's my opinion. And I say that because I was a single mom. I had a daughter before I got married. So, you know, yeah, I mean, I hope it all works out. Good for Portia. She got her money. She got her settlement. Are y'all gonna watch Traders? I think I'm gonna try to watch it. I wasn't interested like a couple of seasons ago. I'm gonna try to watch it this season and see. I'm just not like a game type person, but y'all let me know what y'all think about what Portia had to say. Do y'all think she did a great job with the spread, the whole theme of it? Do y'all think it works? Because somebody was basically like her trying to compare what happened with Bernadine to her is wild. So what y'all think? Moving on, let's get into Miss Kelli Farrell. The Atlanta review is coming, but we know her and Brit got into it, and Brit said some things, child, like about Miss Kelli deciding to not move forward with a pregnancy. And Miss Kelly, with an I, let her know, you and your pill popping roommate. Cynthia said, child, what kind of pills? In her confessional. So I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna show you all the picture, but I'm not gonna play it because once again, music. Like I said, some people can play, some people can't. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. I'm just gonna show you all the picture. But basically, Kelly Farrell says Britt Edie lied about her not having a baby. I'll say that. But the pill popping statement is true and she can back it up. Tell me when you didn't put pills on the table. Child Britt said she better keep it on the playground before I provide the receipts on who it was by. This is what she says. Y'all see it by while she was, oh, who it was by while she was married. She don't want to go there. Here's my thing. You said it during the season, so you could have came to the reunion and provided those receipts. I mean, at this point, it's like you saying all this now. You're not. I mean, you ain't on the show. This is from the Bravo Shade Room by way of Kelly's interview with ET News. Yeah, you were saying you could have shown this receipt at the reunion, so you have receipts on who she was pregnant by while she was married. Now, y'all didn't know each other then, so who you get the receipts from? If you're gonna tell it all. Otherwise, Mary in her glove again. Get on out of here. Do y'all believe Brit? Do y'all think Brit should have came to reunion to show these receipts? There was a lot of people saying that. Somebody said Brit, the IG gangster, the reunion was the place to speak, sis. Exactly. Shout out to Jamie. That's me. She said, girl, you didn't even show up to the playground, the reunion. I said, I know that's right. You saying she better keep it on the playground before I provide the receipts on who it was by while she was pregnant. She don't want to go there. Go, come on. I mean, I'm not Kelly with the eye, but come on, go there. Somebody else said the casting department truly ruined this season by hiring someone like Britt. All this mess could have been avoided if they had done their due diligence. Bravo, please learn your lesson. Somebody else said, why is everybody mad at Britt's comment, but not Kelly's? And hers was first. They both wrong, but Britt is not more wrong than Kelly. It's 50-50. What do y'all think? Somebody else said, I hate this new fandom because they don't stand on nothing. They side with who they like instead of being fair, and it's annoying AF. The same people calling out Britt for her comment cheered Kenya on and preached, you can't tell someone how low to go when she showed that lady's nudes. Now, I am a fan. Y'all know I say, if you come for someone, you cannot tell them how to react. But what you can't do, but what I don't like is you come for someone, they react harder than how you came, and now you're a victim. And I'm not saying that in this situation. I'm just saying in general. Somebody else said, I agree. They were both definitely wrong. But the thing is, we don't want to hear no clapbacks from the internet warrior Brit. She should have came to the reunion. That was your chance. Somebody else said, facts. They up here standing up for someone who doesn't have the balls to show up to the reunion. And no housewife in history has done that. Well, they have. Just maybe not on this franchise, but they definitely have. Somebody said, who is everyone? Ain't no loyalty on that show, and Britt ain't say nothing wrong. These chicks continue to do anything for a check, so I say she might as well go out with a bang and tell all the business. But that's the problem. She's not. She just like threatening she gonna tell it all. Somebody else said they are both wrong, but how is, I'm not gonna say the word, not having a baby an insult? Like it's just immature to throw that out in an argument. The Hobbit comment won, but the not having the baby comment was just out of left field. Somebody said, in a fanatical pro life American climate, it is a dangerous comment to make. Religion nutters do be like that. It's a sad secret to spill unnecessarily. Oh, somebody said they are both absolutely wrong. I'm surprised nobody is talking about Kelly telling Britt you can't even have a child. We gonna get into that. Because there are, whether people, I know people don't like Britt, but she is not always wrong. And honey, but again, I mean, we'll get into it during the recap. Y'all let me know what y'all think about Britt's comment. Do you think Britt, even though she didn't come to the reunion, Kelly's talking about her in an interview, She had a right to say what she said about keeping it on the playground because I know who it was by while you were married, or you think she should keep it on the playground and move along because she's no longer on the show. Also, let me know what y'all think about Porsha and her exhaling. Do you see where she's coming from? Do you feel like there's multiple? It's layered or it's cut and dry for you? Portia's right, and that's all that matters. When she comes back next season, I wonder, will she talk about some of it that she could, even though it'll be a whole nother season, but now she'll be freer to talk. The divorce is final, all of that. I wonder if she'll share more, like leading up to the days or weeks. This is what happened. I found pieces of information out like this. Like, because I honestly would like to know that. Like, what brought this on? Why did he try again in 2022? Like, how long had he been trying? All of that stuff I would like to know. But y'all let me know what y'all think. Love y'all, and I will be back later. See ya. Pray my strength in the Lord as I go back out in this 1,000-degree heat. And the reason I have this on is because I'm in my car all day with the air. So, and then I don't want the sun. I get burned very easily. And when I got burned in New Orleans on my chest, because I had forgot to put sunscreen on my chest when I went out for a walk, being out for a few minutes, it kind of reactivated again. So I've been putting my sunscreen on and still keeping my sweatshirt on, keeping my skin away from the sun, y'all. And I love the sun. I literally could I just love the sun, but I know it's not good for us to just be out there like that. So pray my strength, y'all. Love y'all. Talk to y'all later. See ya. Drink some water.